Hey guys, this is Holistic Health with Harry, and today I'm joined by my Facebook friends that I've known for quite a long time, and I'm getting to know better because I started refollowing your YouTubes, your second YouTube account after the first one got banned, Amanda. So hello.
Hey Harry. Really
whereabouts are you? You're in USA, but it's a big country in it. Are you east side, west side, or central?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Oh, really? Okay, so loads of sun and vitamin D. That's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice here. It's just a bit cold right now, but it's still really, really lovely. And we live right next to the trails, like right next to nature. So it's really nice.
Awesome. But then cold to you is relative. Like I'm in the UK, so I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I just said to you offline, I'm kind of curious, like, I guess if you can present, because I hate the question, what's your story? It's so generic. But I mean, we all have a beginning and often an awakening. So with you, did you have a moment? Or was you like just very intuitive and curious from the very start of your life?
I feel like there was a few moments in my life, but when I had my near-death experience, that was one of them. Let's see. However, before that, there was a moment. I was in Brazil. And I was coconut water fasting. I think I was on day 19 or something. I'm not sure. Well, to be honest, like I feel like it's been with me kind of a while, this feeling of, because my whole family and everything, like there's so much meditation and just like spirituality in a way. Like my stepdad, I would travel with him because he's a teacher. And I was introduced to plant medicines and things like by my parents. And they were always really happy if I would just do it at home because that's better. But yeah, I would say for me, what really comes to me now is my near-death experience. That's what changed everything. That's what completely changed my whole life. Being able to experience death and go so deeply into that, and then have the opportunity to come back. So before my near-death experience, I was in drinking a lot of alcohol, doing a lot of drugs for a long time. I was really tormented as a teenager. From like 13 to 26, I was using a lot of
how old are you now? I wouldn't even care to guess. I mean, I'm guessing 30. I don't know.
32. Yeah.
32. Okay.
Yeah. So I had the thing is, I always loved yoga. I always loved meditation and being out in nature and being in the forest. But I still had this struggle in my mind. It was a mental thing. I was because I experienced some traumatic events when I was younger, and those events were like tormenting me, and so that's why I started drinking a lot. And yeah, it wasn't. I had moments where I was better for a long time, practicing my yoga and meditation and connecting with beautiful people. But then I would just fall into this pattern again of drinking and just being really destructive because I had this voice in my head. And it was kind of like a devil just telling me that I wasn't supposed to be here.
Literally a devil. Because I think when you drink alcohol, that demon's in. That's what I think now.
Yeah. Exactly. That energy. But so, and also there was this feeling of, I had the experience that I had that was very traumatic was the feeling that I got was that there's no more love in this world. I'm not going to go into details of what exactly happened, but I just felt there's no more love for me and I'm all alone. Like, my parents weren't really there. And so I was feeling just really left, like spit out into this dark world. And so what happened in my near-death experience was that I was shown and saw that, love is all around me. And I also saw that it's not just around me. I am this love that I had been seeking and wanting from somewhere was actually already here and it's always here. And so that's why I say my near-death experience is what changed my life completely, because now I feel such just trust and faith that it's right here. And so after that experience, I never drank alcohol again. And
I'm super curious about near-death experiences. Does it mean you came out of your body and you had a choice to come back here? Is that what they say? Well, I've never had one. I just got a little bit of knowledge on it.
Yeah, it's literally like a feeling. I mean, it's every story is a little different, but for me, it was that I collapsed on the floor like really hard, and then I had already felt death. I knew in a way that I was going to leave that day. It was a peace that had come over me. I was like, oh my God, I'm finally leaving, because the body, my physical body, was so toxic. And so it's like, we're leaving, we're getting out of here. We can't be in this vessel anymore. And it was kind of a peaceful feeling. And I made it home and I collapsed on the floor. And yeah, so it's basically like, it was a feeling of feeling the heaviness, the weight of the physical body, and then the lightness of the energy of spirit, of formless self leaving. And so it's like this heavy, there was a really interesting transition of that feeling of like, whoa, I'm so heavy, like the material body, it's so heavy.
Yeah.
And then the lightness of the energetic
spirit. Spirit coming out of your body.
And it was so nice to be able to go. It was such a nice feeling to go up it into this. And that was so fucking amazing. And but in that moment, there was this, somehow there became an awareness of what's happening. And then I was also becoming aware of my true nature and who I really am and what's available to me if I come back, and what I now will know as a human again. So then I had that choice in that moment I was like, well, wait a minute, I can come back. Like I still have a chance to come back. It's like, yeah. And then I just rushed back in, and I was, for a really long time, I was breathing really fast like that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Kind of like rebirth breathing, you know?
Yes. Yeah. The kind of high you get from rebirth feeding. Yeah.
Like I was doing that just naturally after that experience for quite some time.
I guess if you don't have these experiences, sometimes, you think you are the body, and we know logically, a lot of us in the communities, that we are not, we're spirit. But to experience being spirit and to come back, and the contrast between the two, between heaviness, lightness, true self, and then, oh, actually, that's the truth, and then come back into the body, must be incredible. Life-changing event.
It is incredible. It really helps me to support me in my detoxification and like cleansing, and just coming out of that dark, destructive place that I was at with the alcohol and drugs. It instantly, I knew that I was supposed to leave where I was and go to Sweden and to live with my dad, my real dad, because he was living in a cabin in Sweden, or like a nice house in nature, basically. And I knew I needed to leave where I was and just eat raw foods. That was, of course, like the first thing I felt. And then I also wanted to water fast, and I just wanted to be really still. And anyways, it led me on a long journey, but I was severely depressed. I mean, you can imagine like several years of drinking alcohol and stuff like that. The body's really toxic. So of course, however, because of this experience of the near death, like I just felt I had so much faith. It's like, once I had seen that, I just knew that it's fine. No matter what fucking darkness and how hard it is right now, it doesn't matter, because I know it's okay.
The actual truth of our existence beyond this temporary thing. Yeah. Yeah, that's so amazing.
That question, that's the answer. That's like what really did it.
Yeah, that definitely would transition people. Yeah. So do you think that was deliberate then, to set you on your path, or an accident, just a random perchance?
I probably just created that. Like my the bigger self was probably like, okay, Amanda, like she needs this experience to be able to, in this lifetime, wake up more.
Yeah.
And remember.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've always been curious, like your videos are very, I think, I'll just say it on the camera to everyone, I think you've got a very great balance between your, I mean, we all have divine masculine and feminine us, and I think it's fair to say, on average, most guys lean towards divine masculine more, despite traumas or whatever, and then most women lean towards the feminine more, and that's fair, that's who we are. But I feel like you've got a really cool balance between the two of them that's quite captivating. That's why I asked the question. It's very engaging and very cool to see people that have good balance, and it shows you've you know, I feel done a lot of work on yourself, which is why I kind of wanted to interview to ask you, you know, the logical stuff. How do you do it? How did you do it? Like that perfect balance you've got. And I mean, you're always evolving and no one's perfect. You're going to grow more powerful, but I can see it in you. There's a good energy balance between the two, which must make you feel very peaceful, I guess. Not that you're immune to the shit in the world. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool. Okay. So, yeah.
Having the support of the both energies within and feeling that, like, you know, if I'm noticing that my unaware masculine is really present, then how can my aware feminine just bring more support for him to come into more awareness? Like, because anyways, there's so much to talk about, just the aware masculine and the aware feminine and all of those, like,
yeah, go on a little bit, because I'm curious about the how you develop. So you're consciously developing these two areas. I do it unconsciously, I guess, a lot of us. So it is a conscious way you're doing it. Please share with us.
Yeah, well, I've really made a choice to get to know my inner man, my inner king. But also when I decided to do that, I also noticed, whoa, like, he's actually in many ways, you know, especially before, but even still, there's a lot of immaturities in a lot of ways where it's like still maybe controlling or whatever, too hard on myself, or, you know, different things like that. And so how can then my nurturing feminine side, like, soften him more? And then also then how can, anyway, I go to trainings called ISTA. It's International School of Temple Arts. And in ISTA, there's a lot of inner union and intermarriage practices and rituals. So, and it has been like super helpful. It's really just about bringing awareness to these two kind of, like, you have a feminine, you have an inner feminine, you know, like there's a woman inside you that the more you nurture her and meet her, you know, you'll, it's what I like about it is that it makes us, I think it can help people to be less like wanting it from the outside or needing it really. Like, oh, I need that because I don't have it. No, I have it inside and I'm a whole being. And then now I can connect with others from that place. And it's such a different in the energy, you know? And so I think it just, for me, it has helped me so much just to feel more like, yeah, like you said, more at peace. And also safe to break down, safe to be in my messy. Because when my masculine is present and holding space, like being in that, like when I feel that presence, and centeredness, then it's like a part of my feminine feels safe, that sometimes I could go deep into my emotional like swimming pool and like feel deeper and sometimes even break down, but and go to the core and to the depth of feelings and emotions. And it almost goes so, like, I feel so safe to feel even like scary emotions or uncomfortable things, to the point where I like can break through even to pleasure. Because like the deeper I allow myself to feel pain or things that are scary or whatever, like if I really just surrender into it and feel safe enough to do that, then it usually cracks open to actually, whoa, this is really beautiful and pleasurable too. And my masculine helps me to do that, I feel.
That's amazing. And I think even
you can call it whatever you want. It doesn't necessarily have to be masculine, feminine, but
I mean, but it is easy, and it's kind of true though, isn't it? Like the opposite, yin yang. And well, if no one else watches it, I'll just say that I kind of like getting a lot out of this right now, because I'm recognizing for my journey, I just relate to the idea of what you're saying. So when we develop the balance between the two, we have the feminine is more, I don't know, in a simple way, feel your emotions and be present, but then there's less stability there. Whereas the masculine is more grounded and centered. But when you cultivate both within you, it makes complete sense to me that you can feel those emotions, which are the truth in the present moment, as they go like a leaf in the wind. But you do need to see it truly and to heal, like you just said. It makes sense. You need the grounded centeredness element, which I guess is why relationships at the highest form are beautiful, sacred things. Because yes, you're working on your divine balance, but now you're presented with another human being working on their divine balance. And then the masculine is always going to have that. Even if you do have strong grounded energy, they're going to have perhaps more grounded stability energy to allow the feminine to flow and to heal without the judgment, I guess, because the toxic masculinity, I guess, is more ungrounded and judgmental and unaccepting of the feminine flow, and like, oh God, here she goes again, you know, that. And then, do you know what I mean? Like, so you're,
oh yeah, he will
yeah,
just feel, he'll like the unaware masculine might even start feeling like insecure if no, like don't feel so deeply, because also it might be anyway, yeah, it's
yeah,
very different.
yeah, because I think toxic, I mean, I toxic masculine, I think a load of us are, and we're still working on ourselves.
Oh
So
yeah.
I recognize that for me, keep doing what I'm doing, but I need to get more, I really have a desire to get more grounded and centered within myself, because that's our role here, to create that balance between the two. And I think to feel my emotions, my feminine, but then I need the masculine at a high level to really get it out, like you said, to get it out, not to go with it. Because I think you get lost if you go with the feminine too much and you haven't got the masculine essence. You can get lost in it. You can get lost along the way in your feelings.
Yeah. Then it's like it becomes almost like it just feels like draining of energy, and it's just taking you on too much of a ride, and it's not grounded. It's not, the nervous system is just completely it's too much, I feel.
Right, and that leads me on to
and
that leads me on to psychedelics a little bit, because a lot of people get scared of that stuff, and either they're taking too much or some people never give it a go. And I feel like that may be tied in with you're a victim of everything that's going on in your brain without this little centeredness and balance of who you actually are. Whilst you take the ride of these high-powered medicines, you lose yourself a little bit too much into the feminine without that masculine core. Right, I don't know if you feel that's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's so powerful to have both.
Exactly. Yeah. So you do a lot of I won't say a lot, but you definitely do powerful shamanic medicines. You said your parents have brought you up, and I'm a big proponent of that stuff because I feel it advances us. I actually watched your videos on mushrooms and ayahuasca, and I think you learned a lot of lessons from them. And I took one last October for the first time, and I got destroyed by ayahuasca the first time. And I think you can relate to being destroyed by it and freaked out. Like, yeah. Yeah, it was mad. For me, my mind got fractured. I completely went crazy. And I guess I'm so, I don't know, toxic masculine. I was so masculine. I was like, I'm not going to ask for help. I'm going to suffer. Otherwise, I go crazy inside my mind, which is the wrong thing to do. So as I was going crazy, my mind got fractured, and then I believe negative entities entered me, and I became. The reason why I say this is because I became basically, for the first time in my life, like a pervert. And you could argue it's my shadow, but I mean, it was really perverted. I wanted to sleep with my partner. That's normal. She was next to me, but then also guys too. And I wasn't aware I was homosexual at this point, and so I felt like, yeah, I just got destroyed by it and depressed. For a few days afterwards, I had negative entities enter me because my mind went crazy. It was really tough. I think you had something kind of really tough with it as well.
Yeah, that is tough. I mean, I've heard of that honestly, it is such a space where those negative entities can come in. That's, yeah. How do you feel? I'm curious though, how are you now? How have you worked with that?
So for 2-3 days, do you know what? I haven't been suicidal since my worst days ages ago. And then the ayahuasca the day after, I felt like it must have been the entities. I felt like killing myself. But I wrote it out. I went back home, changed my environment, back to my parents. And I've since come back stronger. So if it was a negative entity attachment, it's a bit stupid because I think negative entities just teach you lessons if you're on your path. So since then, I've just come back stronger. And the main thing is, I'm not going to do ayahuasca again. I actually called upon to do this regularly because, okay, the first experience, I had a rough time, but I know it could teach me things and I'm going to get strong with it. So yeah, I want to do it more. I want to explore ayahuasca more. They failed. Whatever entities entered me, they tried to stop me on my mission. It didn't work.
Yeah, a lot of things that have really profound, powerful impact in our lives are usually really hard and challenging, and sometimes it can mean like facing things that seems like we're gonna die. Like, I mean, because my experience with ayahuasca, especially the one I did maybe like a year and a half ago or so, year ago, I truly felt that I'm probably not going to come out of it alive, because it was a 3 ceremony, like one every night. And the first night it was the biggest hell I've ever experienced, like the worst hell. Like if I had some things in my life now that are challenging for me, you know, I have a few areas in my life that are still challenging, that are triggering, that are painful for me. It's like very heartbreaking things, but luckily, blessed be, I'm used to it now. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, how can we just be here now and let this wave move? But yeah, in the ayahuasca, I felt like it was amplified and really
Does it amplify the shadow? Is that what it's doing? Like really forces you to see it without any denial?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's bringing up the things that, well, some of the things I know are there, but some of the things were even things that, yeah, I once I was shown by ayahuasca that it was there, I was like, yeah, of course this is in my life. But maybe before I wasn't even aware that I was like doing that. So yeah, but so powerful for me. The thing I love the most, the thing I like most about talking about ayahuasca and things is not necessarily about all the visuals and things. I mean, sometimes that can be interesting, but sometimes I feel like it can just be distracting. It's like, whatever. It's kind of like with Vipassana meditation. It's like, I don't really care about all the visuals and lights.
Yeah.
Like, what is the, but yeah, just the harvest, you know, and how is it helping us embody more that which we feel is in the highest alignment with our greatest version of ourselves? How are all these things helping us to be more of an embodiment of that which feels true? And so for me, ayahuasca really helps. And also, especially with it showed me very much where, yeah, maybe you watched it, but just the whole thing around where I'm looking for others to help me and help to get me out of certain places where I'm really struggling. Because there was, what was highlighted very much was I was just in so much deep fear and torment and feeling so scared. And instead of actually accepting and remembering that I am so fucking powerful and I am that power that's going to get me out of this shithole, I wanted someone else to do it for me.
Oh yeah, I'm remembering it now, your video, as you're saying that. Yeah, so you got out of it because you kind of flipped a switch of like, actually, I can get myself out of this myself, whereas you were previously, I guess we're always, when we're going through that hell of the bad trip with these things, you're feeling, oh, it's not you that's in control to get it out, when actually it is within your power in that moment to bring yourself back out of it. But you seem to forget, like, I don't know why. We seem to forget at that moment. And then you remind yourself of it, which is key for people that are going through bad trips. We can always get ourselves out of it, I guess you're saying.
Yeah. Like that, like the story that there's someone else out there that's more powerful than me that can save me from this. Whereas actually, wow, like I feel like we have the ability. I remember that I have the ability to access incredible amounts of power within myself, more than almost the amount, so much power that it scares the shit out of some other part of me that's like, well, no, I'm like this small little thing, or like, let's just be small. We're not that powerful. No, it's like we're fucking fierce and we're really powerful. And,
right.
But it's yeah. So that's one thing that she really wanted me to recognize and actually kind of like, you know, it's like the Hulk when you know, breaking open to, I feel like I was like, had to crack through something to get into that.
Yeah. I mean,
and
they
that was
say,
really uncomfortable.
I mean, they say when negative entities present themselves is to just look up to them and hug them and embrace them, not run away from them. But it sounds like a logical thing, but I can't imagine at this stage of my journey yet. I'm sure I'll get there, doing it, like going, oh, there's the entity. Okay, yeah, just give him a hug. Love him.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I got to a point where when I saw something in the journey that I felt was kind of like, had like the energy of like devil and just really dark and terrifying and horrible, I noticed that it was more uncomfortable for me to try to look away and get away from it versus just go straight to it and look in its eyes, or and really just meet it there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
With in that moment, honestly, I felt like it became an ally for me versus versus something that might cause trouble in my life.
Yeah, and it makes sense with all the videos. I loved your lion video too. The power that you emanate for your videos comes from your practice, I feel now, of really acknowledging your true light. That's what you're doing. You're acknowledging your true power. When you take these medicines, is the ultimate test, it would seem, of really, are you just saying you're powerful, or do you actually believe in your heart through an actual encounter with something that's really tough? And now you have to prove that you actually are powerful, and it's not all talk, you're embodying it, which you seem to have carried over into your, which is why we do these things, to carry over the lessons and these things in our life, not just for an experience, as you say, of visuals. It's not like for a high, it's to embody all these qualities, which you seem to be doing. It's amazing.
Yeah, ideally, that is like my biggest desire, to actually be an embodiment of all these things that I'm reading or learning that I feel are really awesome, instead of having it just be knowledge that I'm, or, you know, something that I'm just gathering like that. I really, my desire is to be an embodiment of everything that I'm learning in these things, but I'm not always doing it, of course, but that is my deepest like desire to, because I feel like that's the ultimate way I say thank you to life, in a way, to let myself be an embodiment of these things that I feel are really in alignment with like highest truth or wisdom or love. I feel like the way I can say thank you to life is to let pure life force energy move through me, and then to notice where there might be these blockages or limits or things that are keeping that's like holding it back. It's like, just break through that somehow and let it just be more natural and like relaxed and organic and unfiltered, I guess. That feels like a great thank you.
Yeah, and then you become more authentic and more real, and you can connect with people deeper, and then people recognize and can see your power and can feel it, and then they're like, oh, what is this energy? They might not even know specifically what you've done. They can just feel this energy emanating off you, and then they become drawn to it, and then that's how you hook people in to help them on their own growth journeys. They see your power through your work, and you know, your mastery is amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I feel like that's like the greatest gift, I feel, when all humans, like you especially too, I mean, just all of us, when we just kind of be more of our authentic self and notice where we're not, and then being willing to lean into that and see, well, why and what is that, and then actually being willing to be in that. Maybe sometimes it's really dark and messy and scary or uncomfortable, but
see, at the moment I'm going, right? Isn't it? Like, at the moment I'm going through a phase. I don't know if you be able to relate to this. Like, I've got a really simple brain. I feel like the more trauma you come to for whatever reason, you have a big ego, and your ego is like a protection thing, which means you're inauthentic. It's not your fault, but if you're inauthentic in your communication, and you're just this might trigger people. I basically saying the more traumatized you are, the more fake you are to who you really are. So the more fake you're being. So that's why it's so important for us to do this journey of constant, never-ending healing of all these triggers and traumas, to pull them out, so that we can basically come from protection mode into connection mode. And when you connect with people, then you become more real and authentic in this world, which is, I think, what we're really here to do, to become a bit more authentic as we grow. Like,
I love that. Yeah. From protection mode to connection mode.
Yeah, I saw it in a meme. I must admit, it's not me. I saw it in a meme. It said, ego is protection. And people get the ego thing wrong. They think a big ego means like Kanye West used to be. No, it means you're more damaged and traumatized. And that's not your fault often. But you can change it. And that's your responsibility. And yeah, you're just a great embodiment of that. And yeah, you really are. By the way, the mushrooms too. So I didn't watch all of that video, but I'm a big fan of all of them, to be honest. Because people come and say, criticize and say sometimes when I post these things and say they're not needed. I mean, I guess they're not, but I like to use all the tools, and I think they're very helpful, like, to me.
For sure, yeah. Are helpful at certain times in our path. Like for me right now, I've been told by the mushrooms that I don't need the mushrooms. We're done. I mean, we're not done, but no, like we're just not, you don't need us. Like, so yeah, mushrooms for me have been an incredible tool for just remembering magic and love and seeing more beyond this material realm and plane, and connecting more to the earth, and just feeling how incredible this place is. and how the preciousness of really being connected to Mother Earth, not just talking about it and like, yeah, Mother Earth is so great, but really actually dropping into the core of the center of the earth and receiving our, like, that's really where I get my security from, my groundedness from, my true security comes from, I feel, being really tapped into the core and center of the earth, and to the darkness even down there, and like to the soil, and to there's so much nutrients deep down. But yeah, I've actually noticed that, and this is something I'm getting more and more, is that actually at this point in my journey, I feel, and it might change again later, but right now I'm feeling that I'm being told by the mushrooms that, yeah, like that which we are, I can access and activate without, like, that which we are, you can access and activate without us now.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And it's already literally active. I feel like all of us humans, like, I feel the truth of these psychedelics is that it's just showing us what's already available to us if we are willing to, you know, actually do all the steps that it might take, which could be a long fucking time. Yes. But then, and it will be really challenging. I mean, it might include fasting. It might include all kinds of stuff, you know, especially drinking aged urine probably really helps. But
maybe. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Maybe. But yes, I'm noticing that I really love the trip and the psychedelic of the present moment and of being fully just here.
Yeah. Did you hear the story of Ramdas? Someone told me this recently. I didn't know. Do you know Ramdas, by the way? It's a spiritual LSD.
Oh, I love Ramdas.
Right. Yeah, so you might know the story then. He was with another yogi. I don't know, it was 20, 30 years ago. And, you know, he was given, was it him or one of his 3 other yogis he was with? Anyway, one of them was given loads of LSD and said, by their spiritual teacher, saying, take this. And he took it. And took 1, 2, 3 tabs. I think it was 1,000 IU, which is a fuckload. And basically nothing happened. He said, am I supposed to feel something here? He's like, yeah, you know, you're supposed to die before you die. You've taken a hell load of LSD. And he said, well, no, I'm not feeling anything because this is how I feel all the time without taking it.
That was right? Was that
someone else that was with him? Yeah, might have been.
Yeah. That's so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's amazing. I think that's another goal that we all want to. What you're saying is sometimes you are in that state where you there's no difference. There's not much of a difference between taking it and not. You can embody that without it. Right.
Yeah, and lately I've just felt like, you know, sometimes I'll microdose. I appreciate microdose. I feel sometimes less is more, but of course, sometimes big doses are really good, really necessary and helpful. That was more before for me, like maybe even a few years ago, you know. But yeah, last time I microdosed, I was just told that, like, we don't really need to be here. You're like, it was basically the same thing. And I just felt, that's when I realized, yeah, like allowing life force energy to flow through me and open up my being more is what will, there's just, it's there, it's here. And breath work especially too. Yeah. I feel is incredibly helpful to even, of course, activate similar experiences of 5-MeO, of DMT, and all these things. So it's all available and accessible here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, do you do specific breathwork exercise when you say that, or do you mean like never-ending? Well, I say never-ending negatively. I mean, are you always conscious of breath? That could be breathwork, I guess. People do breathwork exercises. I don't know, like Caputo or Wim Hof. Which ones do you mean?
Yeah, I do sometimes similar like style like Wim Hof. I mean, I breathe through my nose. Sometimes I'll exhale through my mouth, but they're different. So I don't know if you know of this man, and I don't know what you think of him, but Nick Caputo.
Oh, and that's a synchro, Amanda, because I'm interviewing him on Friday. I can't wait. And he's, I don't know if you see his posts. He's really triggering the vegans at the moment, and you know, there's different. Yeah, I think he's drinking raw milk. That's interesting. No judgments and stuff, but yeah, he's a cool dude.
At all. Each their own, you know. Yeah. But so yeah, I joined his 9-day breathwork boot camp. Oh my God, you're gonna interview him on whatever.
Friday.
That's gonna be.
Yeah, I'll do it on Zoom and I'll put it up on YouTube on Saturday. I could do it on interview. I'll do Instagram live actually. I'll change your mind and I can still put it up. But yeah, interview Friday. Excited.
Nice. Yeah, so I did his breathwork boot camp, and so sometimes I do some of the breathworks that he taught us, that he shared. So it's like really fast, like 33 times, 9 rounds of that. And then there's different applying of all the locks, the root lock, the abdominal lock, throat lock, tongue, third eye. And so, yeah, I would highly recommend just looking into Nick Caputo's, what he shares around breathwork, because he really helped me a lot with my breathwork journey in a way, like especially applying the locks, because it really holds all the air in one area. And
yeah,
it's
do you
kind
know
of
what?
like,
I'll say that's really nice.
lot.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I just want to say it's really nice to see, because I get this image that like people that are really new to the journey go to Nick Caputo, but it's nice to see when we're on a certain level, all levels come to each other and we can all help each other. You know, it doesn't matter how powerful you are, you can still learn from other people. So it's lovely you're learning from Nick Caputo, just as I want to learn from Nick Caputo and he wants to learn from me. Like we're all one, isn't it? Like, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really just, if I like something, if I'm already doing a lot of breath work and I love it, then if I'm noticing someone else over here is doing a lot of breath work and sharing it, I'm like, I'm so curious. It's kind of like if I like chocolate, I'm probably going to want to try all the different chocolate flavors. So it's like, I'm not going to get tired of seeing. Yeah, I was so happy and excited when I saw he was offering this breathwork boot camp thing. Yeah, it's just always fun to learn new things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll definitely talk to him about the breathwork thing. And I think I want to do that boot camp at some point in life because I really like it. It's a cool dude.
But yeah, I of course, yeah, usually my go-to breathwork is also pranayama, like alternate nostril breathing. And yeah, like Wim Hof style, except not through the mouth, through the nose.
Right. Yeah.
And then always on like the last breath, I'm always like inhaling deeply and squeezing at my root and bringing it up and holding it. And yeah, then I continue on with rounds. That's usually my go-tos.
Got you. Yeah, breathwork's a take it for granted free medicine. It's available us 24/7. That even if truthfully at the moment I'm not in that phase where I don't do all the disciplines. I do the things that I love the most, which would probably be urine and smelly stuff. But I do, whenever I do breath work or rebirthing or go to events, I'm always blown away with the power of the breath, what it can do, your own body. I love the bias, by the way, the body. I mean, urine, breath, fasting, they don't cost much, do they? They really, yeah. Yeah, because people always say, don't they, that I can't be healthy because I've got to diet and organic food. It's all expensive, and I can't do this. And well, you can do a lot for nothing.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Just starting to snort our own urine too. I mean, that is so powerful too. And then doing breath work afterwards, after we clean our sinuses. I mean, that's a free activity that is so potent. I don't even know how to put a price on that. I mean, It's so amazing what's available to us.
Truly. I think breathwork and age, they're the same, aren't they? The consciousness before you engage in these activities and after, there's such a huge shift. It's very obvious to know that they're very powerful medicines because the thoughts change so much. It's so obvious.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it,
sorry to interrupt you. I was going to ask you about urine therapy quickly.
Oh,
so
yes, please.
Do you practice urine therapy? And I didn't actually know you did until you said just before we got on. Because I know people are going to love that if they're watching this. They'll be like, oh, ask her about urine. So.
Yeah, I do drink my urine for sure. I love it. I'm not always drinking it, like looping it all the time, but I drink it every day. Yeah.
Oh, do you? Oh, that's cool. You said you had age as well, but fresh is amazing too, to be honest. They're both cool.
Yeah, I just drink it like a nice beverage, like a nourishing broth. I feel like it's like electricity water. I feel electrical in my body and I can feel that my cells like it. And yeah, it's been on and off for some time because sometimes if I'm in spaces where literally no one is doing it and where I'm just maybe going to be around a lot of people or whatever, I sometimes stop it. But then always I wonder, why do I stop it? Because it makes me feel so good.
Yeah, me too. It's dependent on phases in my life when I'm experimenting with other things, but also, truthfully, laziness. And sometimes, yeah, if people around you aren't doing it, to remind you. And unless you've got this habit down, like automatic, which is hard, and its environment affects that, people around you. But now I can do that, and but yeah, it's very hard to maintain these practices. However, having said that, to criticize us both a little bit, I guess if every time we sit on the toilet to go for a pee, which is what, at least once or twice a day, probably more, there we go. You can just rub it into your body, I guess. And then you're doing urotherapy. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like doing urine enemas too, and just the golden elixir is so helpful in many ways for many things. When I used to live in Hawaii, my previous partner is the one who introduced me to it, because he had a cavity and he started all of a sudden putting urine in his mouth and swishing it like all day long. And I was like, okay. And then also he was putting it in his eyes for healing his eyes. And,
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, me and him used to stand just naked on the land and like rub the aged urine on our bodies and stand in the sun. And so then it was like really helpful to do it all the time, because I was in a space where I felt like it was, yeah, like, but sometimes here, I don't know, it's different depending on where I am.
Smell and stuff issues. Yeah, exactly. You're more free in nature to do these things. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I have these same issues too. I figured out ways now. If you have your own space at nighttime, do the age urine rubs, and the next morning, when you come into environments and people, it won't smell because it absorbs after a couple of hours, doesn't it? Unless you put it in the hair, just put it in your skin, you'll be fine. Good to go. So yeah, there's little tricks for that. But yeah, it's amazing medicine. And I think for me, it was the awakening, because there's so many lies out there, and that's just so big. I mean, it's waste when it's not. It's probably the biggest out there.
Yeah, I feel like it's creating fear of ourselves. Like, what is this story that it's waste, that it's, people say it's gross and all these things, but it's like, wait a minute, it's ourselves. Like, let's drink ourselves. Let's get to know ourselves. Let's feel ourselves. Let's be intimate.
Right.
Like, literally so intimate.
Yeah, and to me, it ties into the power. It reminds us of the power of the human body, because we are all powerful, and of course, our liquid is us. So of course it's powerful, because we are powerful, and we can clean ourselves out with the medicine that's been created for us to purify ourselves,
Yeah. And I mean, the first time I heard about urine therapy, so I first saw it from my partner, but then I watched a YouTube video with someone called Andrew Weber Norton, and he was talking about distilled water. And first I was like, okay, distilled water, sure, I'll start drinking distilled water. But then at the end of it, he started talking about urine therapy. And I was like, oh, really, urine therapy? And so, but I was like, that's actually the video that led me to, for the first time, trying it myself. And just because he was preaching it and speaking so highly about it, I still wanted to see for myself if it was resonating with me. Like, because there's so many health people talking all around about everything that's good. And it's like, does it resonate with my being? And so I had this little beautiful ritual where I peed in a jar, and for the first time I was by myself, and it was beautiful. I put just a tiny bit of the pee in my mouth and held it there and felt it. Like, it's really for me. Yeah. And I could feel just the lighting up, like, even while it was just in my mouth, my body was saying yes to it. But I really wanted to notice if it was actually like a yes from me, from this like organism. And it was a full heavens yes. So that definitely, that's what like really.
Yeah, your experience. And I'm very logical and geeky, my true nature is. So I could explain basically that if you held it in your mouth, it's a powerful way to take it, because anything under the tongue goes sublingually into the bloodstream, bypassing the digestive system. So actually, it's one of the best ways to take the medicine straight into the blood. No digestion, whack in there, especially if you hold it a long time. Like, so yeah, God, there's many ways to do it, and that's one of the best. Hold it under the tongue, really powerful. Yeah, mad. Okay, I also want to touch a little bit. I didn't actually watch, but I know that you're big on mental health. What was your tips? Because I didn't watch the video, because you have loads, and I would spend hours getting through it. I will work my way through some of them because I'm curious. But since you're here now, what was your free tip? I think you did a video on the free tips for mental health, because I think we all suffer phases when we lose heart with the mission, get a bit disheartened, especially now during COVID. A lot of us watching this even are like, oh, the world's going to shit. How do we deal with these? What tools can we use to G ourselves up during these mad times?
Yeah, I feel for me, one of the biggest things is honestly, it might feel hard and challenging in the beginning, especially if we're going through mental health struggles, but moving our body, breath, sound, and movement. Like whether it's going out for a walk in nature or shaking our body and making sounds, really like literally utilizing breath, sound, and movement. Like, because there's like a lot of buildup of energy. There's a lot of stuff going on here. And that's one of my biggest tips for myself and for others, I guess, is that movement and exercise, forcing ourselves to do that. But also, breath work as well.
I like that. Because like trauma, you know, when animals have fight or flight, we all have fight or flight, including us humans. But animals, they kind of shake it off, they say, don't they? So they have the fear, the flight, the fear and the freezing, and then they shake it off. But we don't. We have the freeze and then the keeping it in, I guess. And shaking, if we did that, presumably, makes sense to me, would release whatever trauma we've just trapped. It's powerful.
Yeah, it helps. And it's usually, but funny enough, sometimes when we're going through, I mean, I don't know, it's different for everyone, but when I'm going through mental health struggles, sometimes I'm getting contracted and more stuck and stagnant with my body too. My whole body is like going into this thing. And then it's just like boiling. But so if I just like change my posture and start, moving and maybe breathing deeper and then sounding, using my voice, because the voice I feel carries vibration and is medicine for us as well, our own voice. Like loud, you know, not caring about what it looks like or sounds like. I feel that can really help. And even if it's just allowing ourselves to do that for 5 minutes a day, like it doesn't have to be like this thing that we do, but just setting like a timer maybe for 3 minutes or something, just letting ourselves move, shake, and breathe. That's definitely something I feel helps. And then, breath work, meditation. I was talking about in one video, it's kind of like, I have these alternative ways of self-pleasuring, which is not about, you know,
not masturbation, you mean?
It's not about creating arousal. It's not about like touching our genitals and
right.
Just like, you know, it's more, okay, what is alive in this moment? What am I feeling? What is here? And then, so if it's, you know, if we have mental health struggles, it might be a lot of things, feeling despair, feeling fucking hopeless, feeling doubt, worry, anxiety. And so just creating a safe space where we can actually let ourselves have a fully embodied experience of all that we're feeling. So it might look like a crazy exorcism thing, but just to let ourselves express what we're feeling, or all these like thoughts and everything, but through it, like without words, and through our body and our sound and how we're moving.
Do you know what?
Let ourselves exaggerating like what we're feeling in a way. For some reason, it does help.
So I don't do it, I must admit, and I want to get around to practicing these things and make them a daily habit, so I don't just experience and experiment and know it. I want to experiment. But I do remember last time I did November, I did 4.4 G of mushrooms, and this was a very healing experience for me. And one of the things I was doing, I did it in a hotel because I was worried by myself. I didn't want to be around housemates or people because I was worried about just that the thoughts of other people, you know, I just didn't want to be there. Anyway, when I was doing this trip, I noticed there was a camera. You would have heard me make wild animalistic sounds, but not consciously. The mushrooms brought it out of me, and it was very wild, and I guess you'd say exaggerated, but very truthful. And I recognized in the moment, very healing. It was animalistic, pure, raw sound, and it told me what you're saying. Sounds and being an animal and just letting go, it must be so healing for the body. Because why would the mushrooms do that to me? Because I came out of it and feeling amazing, and it was amazing to do in the time. It felt authentic to make those sounds. I wasn't in control of myself. You know, it was mad. Absolutely mad. Yeah.
Totally. Letting ourselves do that, I feel, really helps. It reminds me of Osho dynamic meditation. I don't know if you've ever done that.
I've heard that it does that. Yeah, my ex-partner does it. She does it, and I tried it a few times. It's cool.
and there's this practice that we did recently when I was in Costa Rica before we started the ocean dynamic meditation, is we did also gibberish for 5 minutes, like sacred gibberish. It's basically where we just speak out loud, like basically we're just walking around in the room speaking gibberish, that language. And so much I feel it's is getting unraveled in the body when we do that, when I do that.
Yeah, I so agree. Okay, I need to get back on ocean meditation too. Yeah, so the power of sound is underutilized. And also, I was thinking while you were saying that too, when you say you're doing these practices, and you're not caring what other people think. I mean, that's medicine itself, because we all, to varying degrees here, we have this ego that cares what other people are thinking. So in a way, one of the most powerful medicines to do anything that allows you to draw attention to yourself, so that you are putting yourself out there to be judged, especially some weird sounds. And then that's healing itself, because you're just being yourself. And then you're literally telling yourself, oh, it doesn't matter what other people think, because I'm already doing something crazy by their perception, but I'm still alive. I'm doing all these things, but it's okay. You're okay to be weird and make sounds, and you're still alive. That's healing, isn't it? Like,
yeah. Oh my God, that's so healing. That is so like life supportive for sure.
Yeah, I actually feel like caring what other people think holds us back from our true healing. We've got so many fears of what other people think, and it stops us from our highest potential. I
think that really contributes to mental health issues, is that there's maybe a lot of pressure that we're putting on ourselves of how we need to be, or just there's so much that contributes to it. But yeah, that's definitely one piece. And so what you just said, definitely, it's so helpful and freeing. That's something that also we do a lot in the ISTA. We are seen in like our craziest kind of, or what we might judge as craziest, but really it's humanity. It's so human and normal. We all have it, but for some reason we're so scared of showing certain parts of ourselves because maybe it's not socially acceptable, even though everyone literally feels a lot of really strong things, but it's like being bottled up. But wouldn't it be cool if we lived in a society where there was one part of the street where we could just all drop into that space, like while we're walking, oh cool, I'm coming up to this part, let me just do some releasing for this part.
You see everyone going mad crazy, and that would probably make me think, oh, I could do that too, and it's normal.
Just like on that part of the street, just on that part, and then we just continue our walk, like, whoa, that felt good, all right.
Yeah, you just see people walk along and they're all just random outbursts of sounds and dance, and you're like, oh yeah, back to normal again. Oh yeah. Put the mask back on, all that madness. Yeah,
that'd be great to have a street like that. Emotional release block. The emotional release.
Emotional release block school university.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and I mean, you know, everyone knows this, but yeah, good sleep, fucking prioritizing good sleep. All that stuff.
That's a great piece of advice. Yeah. Well, I mean, we know it, but I mean, society generally doesn't focus on sleep. It's mad. They wake up and go to work and be tired. And I think people don't recognize, a lot of people don't recognize the power of sleep because they're so underslept perennially. It becomes a normal waking state that they've forgotten because they don't have the reference of having a good sleep ever. So there's no contrast. So it becomes normal to have not a good sleep. So you don't know what it's like to.
Yeah, and like the way to get good sleep is, I mean, if we're not getting good sleep, probably need to do some form of reset, or like dopamine reset or whatever, maybe less stimulants and things. Yeah, for me in my own life personally, I'm not against like caffeine or anything, but personally I noticed that, yeah, it doesn't really support me because it feels too, it just brings too much dopamine spikes or whatever in my brains. So I can't get deep rest when I have caffeine. But anyways, there's so much to that. I'm not going to open that whole book.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, love it. Is there anything that I haven't said that you'd really like to get across to people at this time? Like,
well, I think I just want to say right now at this time in the world, yeah, it might seem like it's a lot of madness and craziness, but I think we can all feel okay and good if we're just showing up for ourselves and doing that which we know is within integrity, and that which is going to, like, what what step right now can I take that's going to create a feeling of more alignment and ease in my being, and to not focus so much on like these bigger goals, but like, what is this today? Like my habits today and my step that I'm taking now, and how is that actually supporting myself? And remembering how when we take care of ourselves, it really does take care of the world, and it has an impact. Like when you love yourself a lot in all the different ways, whatever that looks like, it's loving me and it's loving our humanity. So just love yourself, because then you're loving me. Thank you.
I love it. That's so lovely and beautiful. I love that. Thanks for saying that. And lastly, before we leave, could you tell us platforms you're on? You're on YouTube. I could put the link under the description, but do you have Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube? I think all of them.
Yeah, I have Instagram. It's amandab.love. And then I have the YouTube, but that will be down below, right?
Yeah, I'll put it in the description. Yeah.
And I have Facebook too, but the Instagram is enough.
Yeah,
or the Facebook. I'm not even sure what I'm called on Facebook, so
yeah, I hope you don't get banned again from these platforms and your message, your powerful message be taken away, because I do feel they do this on purpose. But hey.
Yeah, I'm trying not to. I'm more aware of what not to say and do.
Yeah, me too. Don't mention COVID on YouTube as a description.
Yeah, don't say too much of the word holistic and natural.
Oh,
because
really?
One time I literally had a post. They said, we cannot post this because it's a danger to the community.
Oh, okay. Well, my whole title is Holistic Health, Harry. Fuck, I'm in trouble.
No, I'm wondering, because I think it's just a special target. Like, I think there might be some people that are reporting me, maybe, that are specifically like, I have no idea.
Yeah. I do. Thank you, Amanda, again. I hope everyone's got value for this, because I certainly have. I really appreciate your time. And yeah, let's check back in, every couple of years and see how we're getting on.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much for this interview and for this talk.
Hey, no worries. Cheers.